You're listening to Menopause Natural Solutions, episode 42, Rosacea. Welcome to Menopause Natural Solutions, your podcast for all things perimenopause and menopause related. Stay tuned as naturopath Jennifer Harrington explains how to use natural therapies to transform your health and happiness. Hello ladies, and welcome back. I'm quite excited today. After I finish this podcast, I am getting ready and I'm heading into the Sydney Mind, Body, Spirit Festival. So if you also happen to live in or around Sydney, please pop down to the festival. I'd love to meet you and to say hello. Anyway, today I'm going to have a quick chat to you about rosacea. We started talking about different skin conditions last week and we focused on acne. Rosacea is probably the second most common skin condition in the perimenopausal menopausal transition. And next week we're going to have a look at a few more, not necessarily directly related, but appropriate for this age. Things like varicose veins and cellulitis. But anyway, rosacea is an inflammatory skin condition. It can happen at any stage of life, but the menopausal transition is definitely the most common time that it occurs. Common signs include flushing and easy blushing, permanent redness, red pustules, which are little pus-filled bumps, or commonly known as pimples, red gritty eyes, burning, stinging sensation in the skin on your face, having visible small blood vessels near or just underneath the skin, but also thickening of the skin. So although the cause of rosacea is unknown, there are many common triggers. The most common being damage to the face, the blood vessels caused by repeated and prolonged dilation, such as that which occurs with regular hot flushes. Other triggers include alcohol, B vitamin deficiency, especially your B12, food allergies, hypothyroidism, gastrointestinal disorders, environmental factors such as prolonged sun exposure, wind exposure, and extreme cold and extreme heat. Temperature variations can also be in the bathroom, such as having a long hot bath, spas, saunas. Stress is another factor, as stress hormones promote inflammation of the skin and can further dilate blood vessels, causing flushes. Now, one of the triggers I mentioned was food allergies. Are you actually aware of what foods you should be avoiding? Because everyone is individual, and although I'm going to talk to you about things like dairy is linked in with rosacea, there may be other foods that are an issue for you as an individual. So are you aware of what foods you're sensitive to? Have you had any food testing, or have you completed an elimination diet? Because this would be something I would recommend if you're unsure of what foods that you need to be avoiding as an individual. There are certain foods that promote flushing, and these are things like coffee, alcohol, hot beverages, and spicy foods. So these are best to avoid. We also want to avoid inflammatory foods. Examples of inflammatory foods are sugars, processed grains, and deep fried foods. I've mentioned to you that dairy has a direct link with rosacea, so it's certainly worth trying a dairy-free diet. And also histamine promoting foods, and the citrus fruit family is a histamine promoting food. These should also be avoided. When we're looking at dietary considerations that we actually want to increase or have more of in your diet, we want to have a look at soluble fibre. And this is because of the link with gastrointestinal health. So I did mention to you last week that your skin is a secondary elimination channel. So if ever there's constipation or even just sluggish digestion, we can find that toxins will start to come out through the skin. So whenever there's any skin conditions going on, we really want to make sure that that bowel is in optimal health, and having lots of soluble fibre such as those found in fruit and vegetables and salads can really help to move the bowel movements along and to detoxify. We want to make sure that you have adequate quality protein. So my preference here is for animal proteins, so fish, beef, lamb, these kind of things, just to make sure that you have the amino acids, which are your building block to create healthy skin. We want to make sure you have an abundance of antioxidant and phytonutrient-rich fruits and vegetables. We want to make sure that you have adequate essential fatty acids, and this can be in the form of fish and nuts and seeds, avocados, olives, these kind of things. And it's helpful to have lots of anti-inflammatory herbs and spices in your food. So think about turmeric, saffron, ginger, garlic, coriander. That's getting me hungry just thinking about it. When I'm considering supplements, fish oil and zinc. These are two that we mentioned last week. So zinc I think of as the bricks for your skin. So in case you missed last week's episode, I see the skin as a brick wall. It's your barrier between your internal and the external world. And zinc I see as the bricks, the building blocks for healthy skin. Fish oils I see as the mortar. They help to protect. And when we're looking at every single individual cell in your body, these all have what we call a phospholipid membrane around the outside. And the phospholipid membrane is what allows nutrition into the cells and toxins out of the cells. So we want to make sure that there's an abundance of good quality oils for cellular function, as well as the entire skin, or that brick wall analogy. So fish oils reduce inflammation, they're a key building block, they support skin health and immune function. I also sometimes consider lysine. Now lysine is an amino acid, but it helps to build collagen and it helps to reduce redness. So some women find that useful. Have a look at probiotics. Probiotics support your digestive health. As we mentioned, we need to make sure our primary elimination channels are working to reduce the need of the secondary elimination channels, such as your skin. We want to look at your antioxidants. Key antioxidants for skin health is vitamin A, C, E, and zinc also falls into this category as well. Sometimes I use herbs. So we spoke about spices like turmeric that you can use in your cooking, but they're very poorly absorbed. So sometimes it is better to get a supplement to make sure that we have a therapeutic dose so that we can see the results. And turmeric is certainly a herb that I would consider adding in. There's other specific skin herbs like burdock, which I quite often use as well. Best to actually speak to myself or a herbalist or a naturopath just to try and figure out what herbal mix is right for you, depending on what your triggers are, because a lot of women find a lot of results just with working on the diet. But I always like to add in some supplements to help get faster results, and then the diet helps to maintain those faster results. Well, guys, short and sweet today because I have to get myself off to the Mind, Body, Spirit Festival. Thank you for listening. And I will see you next week when we start to talk about things like varicose veins and cellulitis. All right, bye for now. Thank you for listening to Menopause Natural Solution. This podcast contains general information about menopause. It is provided as a guide and is not intended to replace medical advice. Opinions of guests of their own, and This podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests.